This is the first part of the video we're going to watch together here. It's Muhammad and his multiple wives.
For your knowledge, Doctor, our prophet had 61 wives, 11 at the same time. He even had a girlfriend.
I know, I have heard about it.
If my sick wife died today, I would sell the medicine, eat the food, and marry a young girl tomorrow. I will marry her tomorrow.
All? Congratulations, Constable. Be sure to invite me to the wedding.
Oh, shut up, Rustam.
They told me that they made this movie and it cost $5 million. I say, I will not spend $500 on it. It's a very poor quality. The sound is bad, the cameras are bad, the scenario is bad, the acting is bad. Somebody made it in their own garage or some living room with green screen, of course. It's a joke. But you know what? Everything has been said in this movie, as we're going to see in this next few minutes we have here, is true. Muhammad have multiple wives. As a matter of fact, 60 is the number I always have heard. I know when you read Muslim scholar books, you're going to come up with different numbers because Muslims disagree. Scholars in Islam disagree. The most famous statement, as you read the interpretation by Muslim scholar throughout the Quran, is they always begin the interpretation by the statement, اختلف العلماء, اختلف المفسرون. Scholars disagree. The interpreter disagree. And they always end their interpretation by the statement, Wallahu a'lam. And Allah knows best. That is concerning the interpretation of the verses of Allah in the Quran. So how in the world do you expect the Muslim to agree on the number of the wives of Muhammad? Of course, they're not going to disagree on it. They're going to have disobedience. As a matter of fact, Allah himself in the Quran does not know so many numbers. You go to Quran chapter 18, for example, and it tells us a story, which is a fairy tale story, was written years before Muhammad, and Muhammad copied and put it in the Quran, assuming it's a true story, about 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. Allah said maybe 6 or maybe 7. And no one knows how many. These are the young men who slept inside the cave for 309 years. They were Christian, running away from persecution, slept in this cave all these years, and the end, coming out of the cave, when they wake up, and they live a little bit more, and then they die. But the story is a fairy tale. But what's amazing is Allah himself does not know how many young men were inside this cave for all these years. So, disagreement in numbers among Muslims, it's a very norm. It's the norm of the writing of any of the material in Islam. But we read if you go to this website, you see that we know for sure, for certain, at least 30 wives of the wives of Muhammad. We know them by their names. We're not assuming them. I can tell you, first one, her name is Khadija. The second one, her name is Sauda bint Zim'a. The third one, her name is Aisha and Safiya and Marwa, and whatever names, we know them by name. Now, we know also a bunch of other wives, and we do not know their names. We know obviously all as you read in the Quran, chapter 4 verse 24, and chapter 33, verses 50, 51, that Muhammad have what we call what your right hand possesses. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانَكُمْ. That is slave and concubines. We do not know how many, but plenty of them Muhammad have. Obviously also we know from the Islamic sources that Muhammad have married other women whom he did not have sex with. He just married them on paper, and he was busy with the other wives maybe, and he never have time to, have some good time with these wives whom he married on paper. Plenty of wives. 30, 40, 50, 60, but it's true. Muhammad break the teaching of his own God when Allah in the Quran said what? 4 wives. Muhammad have 13 wives at one time. Why? Because he have special deals with Allah. And as we're going to see, and we read a little bit later from the Quran. Let me give you, for example, here in Quran chapter 4, verse 24. Allah said, and married women are also forbidden. Muslim men cannot have sex with a married woman. But listen to this piece here. Except all that your right hand possesses. All Muslim who own slaves, they have the right to sleep with their slaves, even if their slaves are married, as a very norm in Islam. Muhammad as one of the Muslim believer, also had many slaves. Many of the slaves were married, and he has the right to sleep with them. And Muhammad have a little bit, actually more than that. As you go in Quran chapter 33 later, you see that Muhammad can sleep with any married woman, slave or not. Allah gave him permission, as we're going to read a little bit later. So, multiple wives in Muhammad's life is true. Muslims should not be angry about it. They should not be upset with it. If they don't like it because it's not very honorable thing, maybe, as I said earlier, they need to rethink their belief in this cult of Islam. Now we move to another piece of the video. Muslim attacks Christians and police apathy.
Marina! Justina! Marina!
Daddy, what's going on?
There is an angry mob in the street. Tell your mother to release all the patients and close the clinic. We must go home now.
Okay, Daddy.
So what do we see here? Muslim attacking some Christian homes or Christian businesses, and the police arrive to the scene. And what the police do? Standing still, do nothing. As a matter of fact, the order came, the big cop to the small cops to wait until the job is finished. Maybe for us here in America, we're shocked to hear that. We're shocked to see that. But that is the reality of Muslim officers, Muslim policemen in Egypt, and how they do their work every day concerning Christians who live in Egypt or any other country in the Middle East.
So they wait until...
Yes, until the job is finished, until the church is burned, until the house is destroyed, until the business is stolen. And that's when later the police get involved. Just watch this next piece here.
Freeze! Do not take any action until everything is over. Await my further instructions.
Set the place on fire. We will burn out these forsaken Christians.
Watch this Christian lady. And here is another policeman standing doing nothing. That is a reality. I lived this in my life in Egypt. I've seen it so many times, and I love the coordination between the fire department and the police station and the whatever involved to protect the Christian church. They all coordinate their work together to the point that the fire trucks will not go to the scene until 2 hours later. They said, you need to come here in 1 hour and 120 minutes. 2 hours from now, you can start driving your truck. That makes sure we got enough fire going on to burn the businesses and destroy the businesses. It's very normal in Egypt to see such activity. And I believe this happened in Egypt, this happened in every other Muslim country where Muslims are majority. And that they will come. You're going to see this happening in Europe, and you're going to see this happening even here in America. For that is the way of life in Islam. They are practicing the teaching of their apostle, and they're practicing the command of their God as it's written throughout the Quran. I wish American people read the Quran, understand Islam, because this will save America. As long as we continue to be ignorant of Islam, the bigger chance for Muslims to take over America. But if we get to learn Islam by reading their books, not just watching a movie like that, but reading the books, get to the knowledge, then you can save your country for your children and for your grandchildren.